Let's create a bookmark in Tinkercad. Click on your avatar and choose New Design and 3D Design. You can use whichever shapes you like, create something completely original. I'm just going to create a quick and easy bookmark. First, I'll drag out a cube, and I'm going to make it 0.6 millimeters tall, so very thin, and let's say 120 millimeters long. Now I'm going to drag out a cylinder and use the sides slider, move that all the way to the right so that it's nice and smooth around. Again, I'm going to make it 0.6 millimeters tall, and I'm going to move it up to the top. I'll click on top, so I'm looking straight down, switch to orthographic view, tap the F key so that I zoom right into the cylinder. You can see that there's a little gap there. I want that to be exactly even. So I can click on the cylinder and move it down, just eyeballing it so that the center line of the cylinder is precisely at the top of the red shape. Another way of doing it would be to select both shapes, choose the Align tool, and align them both so their top edges are touching. And I know that the cylinder is 20 millimeters, so I can switch this to 5 and just use the arrow key to move the cylinder up 5, 10, and then I know that's precisely aligned. Now I can select both and group them, but before I do that, I'm going to click on just the cylinder, duplicate it, and move the duplicate off to the side. Now I'll select the top cylinder and the red shape and group those two together. And I'll repeat the procedure down at the bottom because I want to have a rounded bottom here as well. So once again, I can move those shapes and just eyeball them so they're matching. But sometimes it can be hard to tell if they're precisely matching. So once again, I'm going to go ahead and just use this method. In this case, I'll select the red shape and 5, 10, move it up 10, select both and group. Okay, so I now have a sort of tongue depressor shaped bookmark. I'd like a hole in the top that I can put a ribbon in. So I'll choose top view, move it over, zoom in, smooth the sides, and let's say I want this 5 by 5. Click off the shape, click on it to move it. I'll select both and center. That actually looks pretty good the way it is. If not, you can tweak it to position it precisely as you wish. And I'll join the shapes to create a hole for my ribbon. And the last thing I'm going to do is create a sort of cutout shape that can slide over a page. So I'm going to drag a box out and let's say I make that 3 millimeters by 100. I'm going to turn it into a hole and I'm going to slide that down there, roughly positioned, duplicate it, move the duplicate over, duplicate it again, move that duplicate over, and then rotate it 90 degrees and change the length to, let's say, 15 millimeters. Drag that down. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is select one of the vertical shapes and hold down the Shift key and click on the second one, and then zoom in. I'm going to reduce my snap grid to 1, and I just want to tweak it over so that it's about right. And actually what I'm going to do is click one of these, just move that over a little more. Then I'm going to hold down the Shift key and select the second vertical line and join those as a group. And now I'm going to click and drag to select the orange bookmark and those two grouped vertical lines and center them so that they're in the middle. And that's good. Now I can select them again and choose group. And I've got the slit all the way down. All that remains is to cut the bottom off so that the middle piece will be loose and can lay over a page in the book. So I'll use the F key to focus in on that, and I'll just eyeball this. It only has to go across this middle piece to cut it. The trick is to make sure that it's aligned down at the bottom. And in this case, I'm just going to eyeball it. I'll select everything in group, and the cut is made. So now my bookmark is ready to export and print. Rename it and export as STL. In Bamboo Studio, we'll click to add our bookmark, and we see that the layer height is 0.2 by default, and we know that the height of the bookmark is 0.6, so there should be 3 layers. We'll go ahead and click Print Preview. This model will take 13 minutes, 48 seconds to print. And if we zoom in and we click on the layer slider, we can see that there's 1, 2, 3 layers going crosswise to each other. So this should be sufficiently strong and thick, but if it's not, you can either go back into Tinkercad and increase the thickness to 0.8, another 0.2 millimeters, or here in Bamboo Studio, you can click on the model, choose Scale, uncheck Uniform Scale, and then just change 0.6 to 0.8. And that'll make it thicker. I recommend printing a single bookmark at a time until you get the size and thickness just the way you want it. And once you have that set, you can go ahead and right-click on the model and choose Clone. You see the keyboard shortcut is Command-K. How many do we want to add? Let's try adding 6 more and click OK. That seems to fill up the build plate pretty well. Now we can reslice, and we see that the total print time here will be 1 hour and 11 minutes. So we can export this file and print a batch of bookmarks all at the same time.